After planning their escape, Felix asks to learn how the princess or the soul ended up in such a place. How was she enslaved? This conversation is overheard by Pym. What follows is the story of the false god spoken of by the Gnostics, the so-called Demiurge, and how he took control over humanity. In the next scene, we see the uncle and Minister Grumper before he became a minister, creating cylinders. The uncle is jealous of the princess's father and believes he should be the ruler of the kingdom, not the princess's father. The cylinder he worked on was supposed to replace humans and revolutionize forced labor. However, the cylinders exploded and destroyed the uncle's body, but he managed to restore it using scientific knowledge. The princess's father gave her the secrets of time and dimensional travel, as well as location of a book containing the ultimate power, a book the Duke desperately wants to possess. Because of his actions, the Duke was exiled to the Valley of Zil, also known as the Dead End. There he was greeted by reptilian creatures who took him as their deity and submitted to his will. They believed he was there to help them, but the only thing he cared about was returning to Oriana and seeking revenge. He forced them to work and created an army of cylinders and cubes to get him out of the Dead End, of the land of Zil. The Duke slowly gathered strength and captured the princess, as her father had feared. The princess says she fears for her kingdom as its time is running out. Felix promises to rescue her and returns to his cell. There he finds Pym, who says he's had enough of being bossed around. After hearing the princess's story, Pym realizes that there's hope for him too to escape the Valley of Zil. Symbolism of this scene is as follows. As we've already said, this represents the enslavement of the soul by the false god known as Demiurge in Gnostic teaching. However, in my interpretation, I won't focus on the Gnostic literal belief that humanity is enslaved by some external false god, and that planet Earth is essentially a prison for souls. Instead, I will rely on an internal interpretation, which, when understood, can free a person from this slavery. The false god in this context is the persona. Another reference here is Lucifer, who was the brightest angel and believed he should be God instead of the creator who made him. Because of this, he harmed himself, just as the Duke harmed himself in attempt to overthrow the princess's father. The princess's father, or the father of the soul, is God, the creator of all. The dimensional travel given to the soul by gods refers to the vehicles of consciousness that every human possesses but does not use. As you can see in the image, there are multiple bodies: the etheric, astral, mental, and causal bodies. However, remember that in the beginning the princess didn't use the Demence portal, symbolizing she was not connected to her vehicles of consciousness. And when she finally tried to use it, it was too late. The persona or the false god had already captured her, since the soul ignored the signs along the way, and didn't use the knowledge given by her father, and suppressed negative emotions. The Duke or the persona had enough time to use all these unprocessed thoughts and emotions to create cylinders and cubes representing toxic programs and beliefs, and thus take over the kingdom, aka the body, and populate it with low vibrational beings, lower astral plane. When the princess says her kingdom's time is running out, this refers to the fact that the entire system, meaning the body and spirit of a person, will be lost if the person does not address their inner contents, emotions, programs, and beliefs. A person remains a person as long as they have conscious and a soul. When a person loses this, and the persona with its toxic programs and beliefs takes their place, the person ceases to exist, and their life is controlled by low vibrational entities from the lower astral. Look at the people around you and judge for yourself how high vibrational they are, how much soul they carry within them versus how much of their soul has been pushed out. We may have lost a few battles so far, but there's still a chance to win the war. Now we move on to the next and final scene, where we'll learn how to defeat the persona, its programs, and how the soul can reclaim the leadership role it is meant to have.